I am a queen. I am a sexual goddess. I make all my dreams come true. I practice the rituals of the powerful and ancient women that have taught me how to flirt, how to walk, how to talk with a man in a way that excites him, empowers him, and helps him to fall in love with me from the very depths, from the very core of his being, and to choose me as his queen, to love, to serve, to protect, to enjoy. I am inviting you to I Am Queen Retreat with me, Yana Good. I am inviting you to open up. Hello and welcome to our School of Love. Now we're continuing the conversation for the Queen Retreat. And today's subject matter is about activation of your Queen's codes. And we're going to talk about the self-worth and what are the key components for your actual self-worth. And because I am preparing you for the few more videos we are going to do in this sequence, I'm preparing you for healing your money channel. And so before that, we need to talk about actually self-worth. In our previous videos, first I want to review a little bit with you. So if you watched the part 1, the Queen Retreat, we talked about different 4 elements and the feminine hormones, how that is all connected, and how the sexual goddess is the foundation for your queen, for her self-worth, because sexual energy defines your confidence and your dignity and your self-awareness and your self-presentation. Based on how much energy you have is how you are going to be filled up in your body and be present on the stage of life. In the second video, we talked about the legendary queens, and the legendary queens have served us as examples, as women that have certain codes of success as women, and they also have made some mistakes that have led them to early death. And so for me, when I was studying the feminine path, one of the biggest fears that I had once I activated my sexual goddess, and once I activated that inner Aphrodite, that delicious, juicy, sweet, delicate, tender, beautiful, when I let go of these protective layers, this masculine sharpness and the layers of protection, once I took them off and I connected to that delicacy that the feminine energy can have, it's like a fruit. We can have the hard cover that protects it, like a nut. But once you peel it off, you want to eat that sweet and juicy delicacy that is inside every fruit. It doesn't mean that the feminine energy cannot be powerful and fiery and all of that. So let's not confuse it. We're talking about this whole pure essence of the feminine energy that everyone is craving for. That when a woman connects to that part of her, it's like this beautiful peony opens up. It's the rose without the thorns. For me, I have 3 favorite flowers that when I meditate, I work with them. The rose, the jasmine, the essence of magnolia, and I love the pink peony. And the queen of the flowers is, of course, the orchids. If you look inside the orchid, it is a very sexy flower. Like, really look into it. It's like the form of it and everything. It's very interesting. And it doesn't really have a scent. It doesn't have an aroma. It doesn't have thorns. But if you put these orchids in your space, it adds an incredible worth. It adds an incredible sense of abundance and magnificence in its presence. Like, I think it's the queen's flower, in my opinion. So all of us need to find, what pleases us and define in our own sense and ways of the feminine energy. But once I activated it inside of me, the biggest fear I had was, how am I going to live and survive in this masculine world, without my inner lawyer? I have a law degree. Without my powerful inner man, without my fiery, spiritual, accomplishing, spirit. I was like, how can I just mellow into this and bathe and rest and relax and really luxuriate in this feminine energy essence? And the biggest fear that later I encountered in all of my female clients that went into deeper studies, once they too started connecting to that, inner core juiciness and delightfulness, the biggest fear they would have, they're like, wow, Yana, but if I, allow myself to live in this internal, softness, how am I going to survive in this crazy world? And so, for me personally, everything I teach, I have tested. Everything. Like, I take years off and you don't hear from me for a long time because I'm working on something and I'm testing it and I am opening up in it, and then I'm creating a product and then I'm sharing this with you. So naturally, I was in California at that time when I was like fully practicing the sexual goddess inside of me and opening myself up. And I remember the sacrifices I had to make for it, because I was not working already for like 20 years. I had residual income, but it was dropping because it was already like almost 20 years that I haven't put into this network marketing company that I originally built a $5 million business with, Arbonne International. And so I remember that to buy the very advanced geisha courses that were actually teaching me this art of being this amazing, magnificent woman that can make any man feel like he's in paradise and envelop him into her own dream reality, like really advanced practices. I didn't have enough money, and so I had to sell my Mercedes to have the cash. And so I walked for a year. Imagine living in California. There are no buses, there's no subways. I had to walk or take a taxi. So, but I would sacrifice on the way of this art, on getting to this incredible feminine happiness inside of me. Like, I was willing to sacrifice everything in all these expensive courses. Like, in a few years, I was spending over $100,000, like nonstop, all the money I had and everything I didn't have. I was selling all my gold and diamonds, and I was just investing nonstop into these courses. And so I needed the money, and I was not working. I was just practicing. So I'm sharing this with you. I wanted you to know I was so committed to this idea because everything else I've tried. I've had already 2 highest educations. I was married to a very wealthy man and divorced. I've tried a deep spiritual path. I've tried everything the material world calls a success. I've had enough of that. I've had it all. Mercedeses, diamonds, all of that. Now I was testing, how does it feel to be a woman without the thorns? But this is the reality, and I remember how every sacrifice I made to get my education from the best of the best, to have to experience that taste of success in the feminine way. And so I know that it works. However, it also has its limitations. And over the time, I have developed this incredible queen archetype that is a lot more powerful than just the feminine itself. But first, we have to start somewhere. It's like a growth. First chakra is our roots, it's our sexuality. The second chakra is our feminine energy, the yumminess, the pleasure. And the third chakra is the roles, it's the archetypes that we play in the world. And we choose which archetypes and roles we want to play in. So there are multiple sub-personalities within each one of us. We have the little girl, we have the victim, we have the servant, we have the Cinderella, we have the slave girl, we have the bad girl, the good girl, um, the sexy girl. There are different parts of us. And so for me, activating this last couple years, really zooming into the queen archetype, really focusing on because I healed all the parts of me in the wholeness retreat, which I highly recommend to everyone. But now I wanted to give that, the wholeness is like river, it's like water flowing into the ocean. And it is like this feminine energy that is like a magnolia, like an orchard, like jasmine, like peony. It's not a rose with the thorns. It's an essence of wholeness in the feminine aspect of it. But creating the queen archetype, this was like building these boundaries within which my river of abundance is going to flow. Like it's defining who I am, how I want to live this life, how I want to be seen, felt, presented, and loved as, including in bed. Do I want to be loved as a queen, or do I want to be like um, a slave of love, in bed? So, when I'm using the word slave or a servant, I don't mean them in a demeaning way of people that have actually been in those positions. Um, we know a lot of super successful men and women that when it comes to sexuality and intimacy, they want to be somebody's slave, they want to be beaten, they want to be dominated, and so forth. I'm talking from this psychological perspective of feeling like, oh my God, I need my master, I will die without your love, then you're a slave girl. Or the women that, oh, I will do anything in bed, just love me, just don't leave me, that's the servant girl. They want to deserve love. The queen is a different feeling, it's a different code. So I have been really working on learning and activating these aspects of me. So, as we continue to review the third video, we talked about the shadows of the legendary queens. And there I gave you an exercise about the three aspects of fear, or maybe you have more aspects of the fear. And today I wanted to look a little bit deeper into that as well. Remember when all this sex, pornography, and rape drama has unfolded and came out onto the stage with P. Diddy and Justin Bieber, with J. Lo, Beyonce, Rihanna, and all the rest of the Hollywood is apparently involved in this white sex parties. When I was looking into um, Justin Bieber and his position, basically what happened to him, and what happened to all the celebrities and stars. So they have been able to choose a life of an ordinary person or the success on stage. And the price for that they had to pay, like we all have to pay a price to get what we want. I wanted that really open up my feminine essence. And so I was willing to give everything for it. And so they wanted to shine their talent to become a superstar on stage. And they had to give everything up for that. And everything is about the sexual energy. It's this life force with which we make money. But it's so sad that they had to be raped in such an vicious, cynical, unkind manner to be deprived of their innocence as a price for fame, for success, for money, and for what celebrities feel is love. Have you seen this controversial movie, The Substance, with Demi Moore? What are women are afraid of in nowadays is they're afraid to age. And so, because we don't have the archetype of a grown up, mature woman that is sexy, juicy, beautiful, with inner self-worth and high level of dignity. We don't truly have that in the movies, in the fairy tales. We don't have the role models for that. That a woman can transition from being a young girl and being a sexy girl and being the young mother and a juicy 40-year-old, but then she can transform into the 50s and 60s, not trying to look and be younger, but being healthy, youthful, as young as she can be. I know me. Of course, I want to be youthful and young and beautiful, but I never use Botox, silicone. I don't touch I don't have anything that will interfere with the sovereignty of my skin, of my body, because it's not healthy for me. And so I choose to live as long as I can intact with my own natural health, structure. So again, I'm not shaming anybody who is improving themselves in any possible ways. I'm just sharing that we do need the role models that allow themselves and show us how else can be done. There is so much marketing and advertisement into selling yourself in every possible way for the success. And so this movie, The Substance, Demi Moore is playing an incredible role, really honestly showing kind of a biography of herself as well. She's always been obsessed in being perfect, and so, but what's in that movie really touched upon is that what's brilliantly brought into the surface is that, oh, we love you, we love you, we love you, while she was young and energetic and feeding them off stage her incredible sexual energy. The crowd, the Hollywood, everybody was screaming, we love you, we love you, we love you. And then as she became older, even though she was incredibly wise and capable and perfectly performing her job, the love disappeared. She was called old and used up and not necessary anymore. And so where did the love go? So she was so confused about that and was willing to go through experiment where she was young again And again, everybody was screaming, we love you, we love you, we love you. And so for this fake concept of that you can get love from an outside, and the only people in our society that are being loved, praised and adored, valued high, is the young and sexy. You know, as they say, sex sells. I'm inviting you, by the way, to I Am Queen and I Am Sexual Goddess Retreat, so you don't have to sell your soul for sex or something. I'm inviting you to learn how to actually raise your own sexual potency and become the queen of your own life and love yourself as a queen. So yeah, that is a very sad movie. It's actually a horror. I had to fast forward many pieces of it. But the key there is that women are confused. They want love. They want to shine bright on stage, confusing that external adoration with actual self-worth. And so when you watch, sometimes I take a look at the news in America, what's happening, because now I'm living in Bali for 8 years now. And so I was looking to this drama that unveiled and unveiled, no, with drama that is happening right now in America. And so I was just reading comments under about Beyonce and J-Lo and so forth. And what's so interesting, women themselves, they would say in the comments, Queen Bee, that Beyonce is the Queen Bee. Kim Kardashian and so forth, they're all competing there. They're all making billions of dollars for their feminine presence, for sharing their sexuality on stage, for basically, I'll call it making love, but in reality it is, if I call it the proper word, it would be fucking the crowd. They are giving their sexuality to the crowd on stage, and that's what they're eating up and loving, right? And so women themselves are looking how differentiate them, compare them, and say, well, Queen Bee is the real queen. She's the queen on top of all the other queens. Like what? Look at where we have gone as women. Why are they saying Queen Bee? I know it stands for Beyonce, but think about it. Is Queen Bee is being a queen on the stage of life. And you all differentiate this feeling of being a queen. Like even in the Kardashian family of other 5 or 6 women, the one that stands out as the queen for that whole, family. You know who that is. So, yeah, before I get back to this subject, I wanted to finish up the Justin Bieber story because that really touched me very deeply. So the price that he paid for this incredible success, now he's crying, he's sharing his pain that he went through. And this is so beautiful that he connected to his vulnerability, because vulnerability and truth is the first step to liberation. Because when somebody is being so harshly and brutally raped mentally, physically, emotionally, the only way to get off your knees is to actually start speaking the truth, because it requires a tremendous courage to step out of the shame and the fear, because this is what the devil does. He creates shame and fear, if we call it devil or the bad energy or whatever, the negative people, the bad people, whatever. I just call it the demonic energy. They want to devalue your self-worth, which is innocent, divine sexual potency, being present on the stage of life itself. And so it's so wonderful that he has so much courage to stand up and be honest about it and protect other people's innocence from the illusion that, and thank you Demi Moore for really playing this role so powerfully, to show to the younger generation that on stage you get fake love, that the people that are stars, they're being used and abused by Hollywood, sucked and drained out of their own sexual powers, that leaves them very difficult choices to actually have a healthy life in their family, because they have to be legends for the millions. They have to be the lover for the millions instead of for their own family and living a normal, healthy, and beautiful life. Why are we creating idols? Is because people, ordinary women, they have no tools, no instruments, no knowledge, no role models, how themselves to become a queen. That's why I spent over $100,000 and studying like crazy day and night, looking for these algorithms of success as a woman, as a queen. Like I cannot sing on stage and dance on stage and, or be Julia Roberts. But I did, even now, like I was thinking what sacrifices I'm making, because we're launching the Queen Retreat. Life is going November 3rd. So anybody who is watching this right now, it's end of October, through the whole November, is our online retreat is going to go live. And so you can join and purchase it anytime and just join us. Everything is recorded for you. You can always buy it later in a recorded version, but the sooner the better, of course. So I'm welcoming you now, because this is where I found true feminine power and true feminine happiness. Every sacrifice I made was worth it. Right now, to launch it in November, I had to be recording the whole September and August. For 2 months in a row, I have recorded 10 videos for the Sexual Goddess. I was leading a private retreat, which is 3 hours a session. I've recorded for you now. This is our thing. I think this is our 6th or 7th video. So my vocal cords are so tired. It's so difficult for me to speak. And I was like, should I sit and wait for an hour after recording the Sexual Goddess retreat for my vocal cords to renew themselves before I start recording the Queen retreat? And my heart was saying, no, I cannot wait. I want to enter the new year having all of my Queen codes activated. Because how do we fully activate them? It's like the learning has different phases. First, we become aware. We're learning something. We're taking in the new information. Then we need to practice it. Then we need to integrate it. And then we need to teach it. And when we teach it, it actually becomes our power. And then we are living it. So this is my algorithm of success, because I have a teacher archetype in my astrological card and everywhere. Like I was born to be a teacher. So my husband is not a teacher. He's more an introvert and a scientist. So he has different algorithm for success, for information, but it still has phases. So for me, I knew that only when I start giving this information out and teaching you, this is where all my codes are going to bloom and blossom inside of me. And so just the whole September recording every week for you a video, the whole week, each video activates in me something because I'm doing my homework. And so in the previous video, as I mentioned, we did this homework. Did you do this? Did you write down your 3 fears, your shadows? You know, for me it was the fear of mystery, which is about trusting God and trusting life. It's stepping into the unknown. For me, it was the fear of failure and the fear of success. And, you know, the fear of failure, when I looked into that, um, for me, the transformation began from Justin Bieber, because watching the shorts with him and like my heart feeling this deep compassion for him, I was in a deep meditation, constantly every day writing, like, what is the fear of failure for me now? Like, what am I afraid to fail in? And I went deep, 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 deep inside of that. And all of a sudden, I remembered that when I was a little girl, my stepfather, just when my sexuality was waking up, but I was maybe, 6 or 7 years old, like a baby, not fully remember, not mental awareness of that. I would lay next to him and I would play and caress his chest and, discover the hair on his arms, the masculinity, the opposite, the body, that innocence of a child. And of course, he would get excited and he would want my hand to go down and to touch his, masculinity. And I was a child, I didn't know what is right and what is wrong, but I felt that I can touch to the belly up till here, and lower than the belly button, my hand would freeze and I would try to put it down, and I would just resist. Everything in my body would be just like, no. So he got me. Like the conversation happened on a physical level that no, innocence is welcomed. Anything lower is not. And so, of course, I have forgotten about that because there was no really trauma, right? Like he didn't do anything. But in that meditation with Justin Bieber, just really going into the depths of this innocent sexuality as innocent, as divine, innocent power, um, as the fountain, as the essence of this juiciness inside. It's like that activation of abundance, of deep trust into the divine inside of me, like connecting to the goddess energy inside of me. It's like diving deep, deep down into the channel of innocence and sexuality. All of a sudden, that picture came up from childhood, because our consciousness is only 20%, as I mentioned in first like 2 videos that I've done. Our consciousness only remembers and is aware of about 20% of what is really going on. The rest, the 80%, is hiding in the darkness of our subconsciousness. And when we're starting healing, when we're moving towards wholeness, to that center, to heal our sacred wound, to open up our sacred gifts, is stuff starts coming up from our subconsciousness into consciousness, and we become aware and the pictures come up and so forth, so that we can heal them. By the way, I noticed when I'm looking at the analytics of the videos, I see that a lot of you watched the Queen video, which is number 4, and less people have watched the video number 2, number 3. I guess the words love temple don't inspire you, or the retreat, return to wholeness, doesn't inspire you as much as the words I am queen. But in those videos, I'm actually sharing a lot for you. And I do recommend you watch the video number 1, number 2, number 3, because as you're going in this sequence, I am in every video, I'm sharing a little bit more, a little bit more. I am preparing your awareness to feel, to think, to meditate upon these deeper subjects. really am working on opening up your sexual goddess in its purest, innocent space of wisdom, love, and abundance. Those are the codes that we're going to work with I Am Queen Retreat. Okay, so that's what I wanted to share with you. That story, that when I looked into the fear of failure, that first what for me came up is that can I be the queen of a beautiful body after the trauma that I went through? And then that dived into this molestation issue with my stepfather that tried to do the molestation. And that led me to the innocence of my desires. I connected to that little girl that was 7 years old or 6, I don't remember, 5 to 7. And I really connected because that's where I locked up. That's where I closed up. And so I went back and I released my stepfather from the role of the aggressor, even though it's a passive aggression. But I returned him the role of the innocence. And I released him from shame and from guilt in my world. And I reconnected to that wild aspect of the childhood that is exploring that the sweetness of the desire. And so desire for pure pleasure. So I went for myself and I deeply healed that aspect again, and it's like something opened up inside of me. I'm telling you, I started this Queen Retreat recording the videos for you, preparing you for the retreat, because I knew that as I start sharing and educating, I'm going to go deeper in this journey myself. And everything I do, everything I teach is a self journey for me. It's, yeah, I've always dreamed about women that could be teaching me from their actual experience, that are not telling me you do this. No, you do this, and then share with me. And I want to see the results, and I want to be inspired by you. So that's why for me, I am always in practice. you Only once I feel confident that I can share this from the space of truth, I do. And so to finish it up with Justin Bieber, I'm so proud of him that he um, did everything to protect one of his fans that I think her name is Alicia, that a 13-year-old girl that is also now, singing in Hollywood, on stage and so forth. But if you notice that the stars, they have to be young, the models, the supermodels, they'll get them when they're 14, 15, 16, and get them into the deal, so that they can take the maximum of sexual energy out of them when that just is budding, that sexuality. I think Beyonce was married or met Jay-Z when she was 16, or Rihanna was 16 when she was put into contract, and I think Beyonce married at 18, and they don't have any choice. It's like this is all they know. So anyhow, God bless them and give them strength and courage to come out of that whole thing, and learn the lessons from that, and reconnect to that divine innocence inside of them. For women that have gone through difficult times and sexual abuse or molestation, I created the program, the Womb Healing Program, that allowed me to deeply heal different parts of me, my relationship with mom and dad, with my inner child. And there I'm teaching you how to activate your sexuality. So the Womb Healing Program is the first program I created for women ever. And now I'm also inviting you to go through the Wholeness Retreat and through the Queen Retreat. You can buy them together as a package, and then you get $4,000 worth of gifts. Or you can go one piece at a time. It's all up to you. It's all good. Awakening your queen codes, connecting to the abundance and freedom, connecting to your sensual, sexual, divine essence of a woman. I am queen. I am a sexual goddess online retreat with Yana Good that opens up your sexual goddess powers through rituals of geishas and Cleopatra. Learn from the wisdom of the greatest women and become happy and free. Welcome to the School of Love. You deserve it. It's worth it for you. And they say in life there are two powers that act in our life is love and fear. And so love leads us to innocence, joyfulness, purity, pleasure, and peace and bliss. And fear drives us into shame and guilt, apathy and aggression and pride. So, in this Queen retreat, in the wholeness, I've been healing everything that creates the victim archetype, which is always the heart of it is fear. And in this retreat, I am Queen. I am healing and activating and creating also my own, the archetype of the Queen of Love. So I'm hoping that you are liking the work that I'm doing. Please like and subscribe to this channel. Go to my beautiful website, yanagood.com, and read about these retreats, watch the movies, and join us. Join me. I am creating a Queen's Club for women that will go through this Queen retreats, Part 1. I'm going to have soon Part 2 and Part 3 in 2025. They're coming. So that we can have the women of the new age, the women of dignity, the women that are uncovering their self-worth, not through and learning from the mistakes of the superstars that have sold, their innocence and sexuality and self-pride and freedom for the money and the adoration and the success. I want to create an opposite movement, where, and we are not comparing, but we're supporting and enriching each other so that our code words are love, wisdom, power. We are safe in supporting each other with our wisdom. Okay, so let me think about if I have more time, because in reality I wanted to share a little bit more with you in this video. So let me just take a small break, take a deep breath. My queen is always relaxed. So this is the rose essence, and I wanted to connect to my heart. And I want to share with you that what I will be sharing with you right now is actually the juice of this video. I'm going to share with you something very powerful, very important. And so if you're tired, take a break, go get a cup of tea or coffee or something. And if you need pen and paper, but I want you to give this your full attention. I'm going to very lightly touch of it because I don't have much time in this video. But I have been all morning meditating and preparing how to share this really potent information in a light and playful manner. And it is truly connected to what we were just talking about the stage and the price. And so, okay, here we go. So in astrology, there are, we have 12 months, there are 12 signs, and there's a concept called 12 houses. And each of the houses is responsible for a certain aspect of your personality or life. So the first house is responsible for I, for the personality, for the ego, um, for how I really am at home when nobody's watching, like the real me, right? And the fifth house is responsible, it's the house of entertainment, and it is responsible for the archetypes, the roles, the masks that people are playing in life. So people that have the fifth house in their astrological charts are usually become actors or stage speakers and so forth. They have this need to demonstrate, to be demonstrative, and to play and to share different roles and so forth. They love it. So the difference between those two archetypes is sometimes I remember they made a movie about DiCaprio, Leonardo DiCaprio, and they showed him that in real life he's like a really kind of not an interesting person. Like it's like the lights off. He's kind of like mellow and nothing particular. But when the lights are on, I mean, he turns his fifth house on. He is incredible. He can be and act and present and anything that he wants. But when he shifts back into the first house, he's quite ordinary and uninteresting. I remember the same story was told about Britney Spears. This lady was working on her marketing team, and she just walks in this girl with a big neck and nothing. I mean, she's cute, nothing particular. But the lights go on, and she turns it on, and it's like her neck changes, her posture changes. She turns it on, and she goes, and I was mesmerized by her. So a lot of people think that what you see on stage this is how people are at home. Not necessarily. And so sometimes people meet their idols in real life and they're like so disappointed because they create an illusion that the archetype on stage is the real person. So I was like, oh wow, this is interesting. This is when I started studying that I realized that I need an archetype in which I play in my fifth house, because I do have a fifth house in my chart. And I was like, I have tried the enchantress, I have tried the natural woman, the wild woman, the free woman, I've tried the sexual goddess. I played with a lot of archetypes, with the priestess archetype, and I was like, now that I am so loved and I am in a sacred union and I feel so safe and I feel so healed in my first house, and I am so real and honest in my first house, so in love with myself, in spite of all the vulnerabilities that I'm experiencing. I felt like, this wholeness retreat has really brought me to this really soft and open, vulnerable heart where I could accept all of me, the aging, the not fully functional in the body, the older than my husband, um, the one that whose vocal cords are weak, you know, um, because before I could talk for hours all day long and I was so powerful and I was beaming with energy. But after the what's the name of it? The COVID. When COVID happened, after that, my vocal cords stayed very vulnerable. Like I have a limited amount of time that I can talk nonstop, and then I need to take a break. And so after the surgery, I have just recovered, and all of my energy, all of my vitality went into fully recovering in a natural way. And so I was feeling like, oh my God, can I do this? Can I come on stage with my vulnerability, with not fully recovered in my body? But in my first house, I feel so whole and complete. And I feel so loved and safe, like so much self acceptance, self worth, self love has really like filled me up from the center, from the core, that I was like, I'm trusting my queen archetype. And the fear of success is not going to be present in my life anymore. I'm allowing the queen archetype to come and flood away the fear of success and allow myself to be real, to be a queen and yet a human being with my age limitation, with my physical limitation, with my voice limitation, trusting the unlimited potentiality that is within me, trusting the unlimited potentiality that is within you, trusting that I don't have to copy all the other people and be like everybody else, trusting in my uniqueness, and trusting that I can assist you in opening up and connecting to your own unique expression, your own queen bee, being the whatever way you want to define your queen codes. Because when we work on this together in our Queen's Club, that's what's so beautiful about this journey. I'm so excited about it. It's because every one of us is going to bring to the table your own queen bee codes. How do you choose to be on the stage of life? Because in life, to make it exciting and interesting, we do need to create an archetype. So I'm inviting you to, put your crown on and be the queen in your own life. Let me share one more important thing about the first house. So when we look at the first house, when I look at people, and I know I went through this journey, there are three aspects to us. The first house we can divide into the basic mode. This is your vulnerable. Um, this is where your victim is hiding. This is your space of insecurity. This is where all your fears are hiding when you're in your basic mode. And then there is the third level. So this is your first level. And on the third level, there is your fullest potentiality. This is where your superstar shines. This is where your goddess shines. This is where your genius zone is. And this is where you go when you're meditating. And then there is, in the middle, is your point of assembly. They call it the chronic space, or like, the disease is like, has the chronic dis-ease. Like, that's what creates a disease. It's a dis-ease when where you're lacking the ease, the peace, the relaxation. And so when you see a person, oftentimes, women, my husband also calls it the ballerina syndrome. Women kind of stand up on their tippy toes and they start telling you the legend about themselves. They're like, oh, I am like this and I'm lovable and blah, 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 blah. And but you see that they're on their tippy toes like a ballerina. And no matter what a great ballerina you could be, maybe you're a prima ballerina, that you can just on your tippy toes, fly on the stage and create whatever legend you want to create about yourself, or you're playing a role. Sooner or later you have to step back on your heels, and that is where you're coming down to your basic codes, where you go, oh my god, my feet are hurting, or my toes are bleeding because I was too long on the tippy toes. And so the person is, when we're communicating to somebody, they are somewhere in between this range of their full potentiality, their ballerina mode, and in their base victimhood mode of their fears. And the sum total of that brings it into the middle, and this is what creates the daily chronic point of assembly. This is where they're actually living. So if they get scared, they're dropping into the basic mode. And in the basic mode is the black dragon with the three heads, right? This slide I have shown to you in the first couple of videos. When you drop into your basic, the victim, aggressor, or savior mode, some of those things get activated in you if you get threatened, if you get scared. You either become a victim, or you become an aggressor, or you pity the person that is threatening you and you want to teach them how to not to do that, be a good boy or something. And your full potentiality is what I call the golden dragon. And here you're connecting to the power of love, the power of wisdom, and the true powers that are within you. Okay, but in the middle is the actual you, is the actual personality. So that's the first house. You run this whole range of emotion and spectrum in your first house. And when you're talking to people, people are listening to you, they're watching you, and they're feeling you. And they can tell where you are lying or exaggerating, or you are in your full potentiality, your inner sun is shining bright. They can test you. Children like to test their parents. So the wholeness retreat is about healing the black dragon and raising up the basic line higher and higher. And the high potentiality is the queen retreat that will create this opportunity to raise your point of assembly into a higher point of presence. That's how it worked for me. This is the algorithm that I have discovered for myself. I have been healing my base. I have been polishing and working on my high potentiality. I accepted and healed the black dragon. I accepted and started riding the golden dragon. And then I brought myself, my daily presence, my daily being, where I opened up the Queen's Code. And in our next videos, we're going to talk about this archetype, the Queen of Abundance and the Queen of Love. And we're going to work into healing your money channel. So I hope that this was interesting for you, helpful for you. I am looking forward to your comments underneath this video, and I appreciate your likes. And I want to welcome you in our School of Love and Sacred Union, where self-love, self-dignity, abundance, generosity, and unity of women that embrace the inner queen and enjoy the life as a queen. So join me. I love you. I wish you well. And I'm looking forward to our incredible November together, where we enter and celebrate the 2025 as queens of love and abundance and power. Much love to you.